So apparently New York City has a new mayor. At least a mayoral primary. We got a Muslim that's going to be in charge of New York City. And apparently this man has Wall Street in a big tizzy. So Zohran Mamdani, I can't even say his freaking name properly. No idea. I've never heard of this dude in my life. Victory in New York City mayoral primary leaves Wall Street alarmed and depressed. Why is he a communist? Is he going to bring Islamic law to the United States? Can't charge interest? Which, by the way, I've never understood that. Why would you lend money to anybody if you cannot charge interest? I'm not going to give money to any clowns, have them risk my capital, and them not compensate me for it. Oh, just lend money for free. It's like perpetual clown market. So apparently this is the guy right here. Okay, he won the primaries, and apparently that means he's going to be the mayor soon. So let's see why Wall Street's panicking. To say Wall Street isn't a fan of Zohran, Mamdani, would be an understatement. I'm sure all the leftist liberals are celebrating because basically the mayor of New York City is basically the emperor of America. In fact, high-profile investors and business leaders in the Big Apple are up in arms about the stunning win by the Democratic Socialist. Oh, here we go. Democratic Socialism. Now, some of their critiques of capitalism are correct, but I think if they ever became, like, the leaders of the entire nation, I think they would completely destroy the economy with absolute freaking nonsense. To win the Democratic nomination to serve as the next New York City mayor. Oh my God, this is why you don't live in big liberal douchebag cities. It's that easy. Why would you live in... I don't understand why anybody would live in New York City. It's crime-ridden, it's expensive, it's leftist, it's DEI central. There's literally nothing about the city that appeals to me whatsoever. There's plenty of like medium or even smaller cities around America that are a lot better, and you would have a lot better cost of living. The reason a lot of people are broke is because they live in big freaking expensive cities. Oh, my salary's so high, I make more than you. Yeah, but your bills are like 20 times mine, moron. The three-term assembly member's potential victory in the November general election could bring what Wall Street hates most: tax hikes and tighter regulation threatening corporate and investment interests. Now, the only thing he can affect is New York City, right? Well, why are we concerned about some communist Muslim dude, which is also a hypocrisy? Why would we worry about him if he's not going to be able to affect the entire United States? Now, if you live in New York City, yeah, you might get taxed to infinity. But you're also a clown, and you deserve to get taxed if you live in New York City. Like, I've done tax returns for New Yorkers. There's like 1 trillion different taxes. Everything's taxed. Why? I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I guess if you have family there, you're kind of stuck. Felipe Lafont, yeah, you know which way he swings, founder of the hedge fund Cotu Management. How do you come up with these names, dude? Mine would be called Big Balls. Told CNBC that a Mamdani win could trigger another exodus of wealthy investors. Yeah, yes, especially if you're wealthy. Why would you live in New York City? Oh, it's for networking. You give me $2 million and, well, I'd stay in the house that I'm at. But if I got $2 million, I'd instantly leave New York City and go retire somewhere that's medium or small. You don't need infinite money and just stay in New York and get taxed to death just so you can network. Since the pandemic, a wave of wealthy residents and institutional firms have fled the nation's city for low-tax states such as Florida and Texas. Florida gets hit by storms all the time. I mean, it's a nice state. I'm tempted to move there eventually, but I don't know. I've been kind of freaked out by all the hurricanes they're getting. And then Texas is just an ugly state. I lived in Texas for 4 freaking years at Fort Hood, Texas. Killeen. It is the ugliest state. It sucks out your soul. I cannot live in Texas. I kind of like the East Coast, Southeast Coast, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. All good choices. Some people are going to, for sure, go, Lafont said on Wednesday. Andrew Cuomo, conceded the Democratic nomination. It's the end of the Italians, the rise of the Muslims. It's not quite done yet. There's still an election. Maybe Cuomo will re-enter as an independent. Please. Mamdani's emphasis on socialism and redistribution of wealth runs counter to Wall Street's preference for unbridled capitalism and policies that support growth, such as deregulation and low taxes. I will say the socialists have a decent argument when it comes to unbridled capitalism. I like capitalism, but there's a point where you cross into grifting scum trash territory and you pursue profit at the expense of everything else. There is a line. Capitalism cannot be unchecked and unbridled. There has to be some temperance of capitalism. Go look at some of the scammer YouTubers if you want an example of unbridled grift capitalism. But sometimes the socialists go a little bit too far, okay? It's a negotiation. That's how we figure it out, okay? The 33-year-old, he's a young man, has supported taxing the ultra-wealthy. They already pay the vast majority of the taxes. Financial transactions, and passive income like dividends. I actually kind of support taxing dividends at a higher rate for super rich people. It's unearned income. You sit on your butt and you get a dividend, okay? So mom and pop, they got to go to work, pay FICA, Social Security. They got to pay federal tax. They got to pay state tax. They got to pay frickin' city tax in New York. And they have to work. They have to get up and go to a frickin' office or whatever they do. If you're rich, you literally do nothing and you get paid and you pay lower taxes. Okay, the highest tax rate, at least on the federal side, is 23.8%. You're not taxed at even close to the cumulative rate that other people are. I don't really understand that. Okay? If I had $10 million of dividends coming in and I had to pay 40% taxes, would I not like it? No. But I'm so happy. I still have $6 million left over. Okay, I think I'll be fine. You're doing nothing. He has also endorsed a state-level wealth tax. Hopefully he only targets the super rich. I mean, most people think socialists are trying to target them. Maybe eventually they will. But their primary targets now are like super rich people, like hundreds of millions of dollars. That's what they're really gunning for. Doesn't mean they're going to change their tune in the future, but if you have $2 million, they're probably not going to go after you, okay? At least in the short term. That's my opinion. Get mad. And increase marginal income tax rates on high earners. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't see a problem with that. And of course, bro, I only have $100 billion, bro. Hedge fund magnate Bill Sackman said he woke up Wednesday a bit depressed. Oh, he's so sad. I'm only going to have $20 million of income this year. By Mamdani's victory. The Pershing Square chief said he's now looking at the logistics for another candidate, not himself, to run. So, of course, politicians, they can always intervene and buy off other candidates and run massive campaigns to get them elected. Because all of U.S. politics is bought and paid for, mostly by corporations. Okay? That's actually not a good thing. Lawrence Summers, a former Treasury Secretary, president of Harvard, also expressed his distaste for Mamdani's nomination. I am profoundly alarmed about the future of the Democratic National Committee and the country. By yesterday's New York City anointment, that's like a religious term, of a candidate who failed to disavow a globalize the Intifada slogan. Oh, now we're bringing in Israel politics to that garbage. And advocated Trotskyite economic policies. Well, that's the beauty of America. You have a federal government, and then you also have state governments, and you are free to move between states. And I highly recommend you do. Self-deletion by mayor. And people, like, why do people, like, I don't care about this at all. I think it's funny that these people are pretending to freak out. America is not a socialist country. We have a far-right government. We're talking about massive tax cuts. There's no threat of imminent socialism. Maybe in the next couple of years, possibly. But in the meantime, no. There's no threat of socialism taking over America. Look at Trump's the president. The Congress and the Senate are controlled by Republicans. Part of the stunk market has already felt the pain from the prospect. Why would the stock market sell off? That is the stupid term, nothing burger. Why would the stock market, which represents the market's expectations of all the future profits of all the companies publicly traded in the United States that have global revenues. Why do they care about a New York City potential mayor? It doesn't matter. Shares of the New York Regional Bank. Oh, a bank went down. That's the stock market. Flagstar, with exposure to New York real estate, sank 4%. Okay, wow. This is why you diversify. Oh, it's got a dividend, bro. Office-focused real estate stocks also suffered, with SL Realty, Green Realty down 6% and Vornado Realty Trust down 7%. I've never heard of any of these. Dividends, bro. Mamdani advocates for universal rent control. Oh, my God. Rent control just leads to apartments degrading because in order for the owners to make a profit, they can't spend a lot of money on repairs because their revenue is capped. So the only thing they can do is mitigate expenses, and that's usually maintenance. It usually leads to massive disrepair and crappy conditions. And the New York City mayor has the power to appoint representatives to the regulatory board that oversees rent-controlled and rent-stabilized apartments. Pfft. Or you could buy a home in a slightly less urban area and have your own space instead of being crammed together like sardines and getting robbed, having users of substances on the street taking you-know-whats and all over the freaking ground. God, I will never understand the city life. Oh, but I could have so much fun. The bars. Oh, $20 beer. A pause on rent increases would hurt the profits of multifamily rental properties. Roughly 1 million New York City apartments are rent stabilized, but only about 20,000 are still rent controlled. This is what happens when you have democracy, man. They can just vote in whatever they want. It appears that NYC is electing to commit self-deletion by Mayor Jim Bianco, president and macro strategist. Oh, macro strategist by VT. That's my macro. At Bianco Research, said in a post on X, terror is the fear. Everybody's scared, bro. Oh my God, America's fallen to communism. Ah! Mamdani's solution to most problems relies on an ideological commitment to taxpayer-funded spending. Oh, God. And that leaves the business community concerned, said Catherine Wild, president of the Partnership for New York City, a nonprofit group of CEOs founded by David Rockefeller in 1970. You know what would also be good is we actually do raise taxes a little bit instead of funding everything with debt, which is what America's doing now. That subsidizes corporate profits in the short term, but we're subsidizing the private sector by packing on debt in the public sector. That's what we're doing in America. Maybe you should raise taxes a little bit. I don't know. Terror is the feeling, Wild said on CNBC, as voters headed to the polls. Yeah, I'm going to get free rent, bro. Rent control, brah. Mamdani, he's so progressive, brah. He's brown. Oh, it's future, brah. Diversity. Although she noted that there's much positive in New York. There's nothing positive about New York City. Now, I can't think of one thing that I think is positive about New York City. I would visit it, and I actually might visit it this year. We'll see. But besides like visiting it, seeing the sights, I'm gone. That's it. I'm done. Maybe I'll fall in love and move there. Doubt it. But that could quickly shift if we lose confidence in the mayor. Oh, then you elect a new one later. Wild said the state government, led by Governor Kathy Hochul, should keep the city out of a disaster scenario. Let it burn. I think it's hilarious. She acknowledged concerns about the high cost of living and doing business, but said that raising taxes isn't the solution. Well, don't they have a state? Don't they have like a little legislator in the city? Like, is the mayor the dictator? I don't even know how it works in New York. I doubt it. Some of former Governor Cuomo's strongest support came from the Upper East Side of Manhattan, the home to many of New York City's highest earners and business titans. Oh, yeah, I wonder how he got elected. He is completely controlled. Bro, my profits, bro. The former secretary of the Department of Housing and Urban Development in the Clinton administration received more than 7 out of every 10 first-choice votes in several of the precincts in this neighborhood. In 2013, Bill de Blasio's win also triggered anxiety among the financial elite. Good. A lot of these people are scum. They are scum, okay? Not all capitalists are scum, but there's a lot of them, okay? But he was able to ease fears by meeting business leaders directly before implementing sweeping reforms. I mean, I'm sure Mamdani is going to get bought off too. Okay, I wouldn't worry about it too much. We had Mayor de Blasio for 8 years. New York is really strong. I'm hopeful the same will happen, Lafont said. So apparently this is like the end of capitalism. Well, apparently the stock market crashed. It sold off in panic because this guy might be mayor of one city in a country of 340 million people with thousands of publicly traded stocks exposed to both domestic and international markets. Total nonsense. Anyway, what do you think? You think this is the end of America? Do you think you were cooked? Do you like this guy? Is he your hero, your little socialist king? He's going to give you some money in your pocket? Like, subscribe. Consider joining as a member. You get exclusive content, priority responses to comments, both in the bottom of videos and on live streams. And you guys have a wonderful day.